Am I nuts? So we've done videos with this guy before. His name is Michael Moreno. Wowzers. So this individual is real dumb. I'm not a fan of him. He's never been smart. He thinks he's smart. He fancies himself an intelligent person. He's a libertarian, so yikes. Anyone who calls themselves a libertarian is a dumb. That's a fact. This video is entitled, and I'm not making this up, "Why I Didn't Vote and How Democracy is Evil." How democracy, people voting, is evil. Now, as a lefty, we agree that electoral politics are not exactly ideal, but that's a representative democracy, in which case we have a lot of bureaucrats at the tippy top. This here is about how democracy, how voting is bad. We need to have what? What in regards to it? Well, let's find out. Let's find out, shall we? I imagine we'll all hate this. Looking forward to it.
I love democracy.
I'm going to
I love public.
do this so I don't get
Now,
DMCA
people talk
by
about
Disney.
democracy. It's usually with very high esteem. It's practical.
Why does he always talk down here like this, and why does he always look so goddamn serious? It's because he's reading from his laptop, but that's okay. That's what we're going to have to deal with. Does he have closed captioning? He sure fucking does. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Synonymous with justice, human rights, and American patriotism. When people talk about the developing world and the
God, he's just so fucking, I am very smart, and I hate him, he's so smug. Ugh.
chaos that they find themselves in with authoritarian regimes, it's democracy that's promoted as the cure that needs to be administered. Democracy is seen as the staple of progress in the game of human civilization. And it's so bizarre that that's the case.
Like what is with this fucking angle? It doesn't, why not just look at the camera? It's so weird. I'm so caught up in this. The camera's also dog shit. He's like it just reeks of self-importance. It just reeks of self-importance. It drives me nuts. Meanwhile, this is what the fuck I look like. Stop taking yourself so fucking seriously, you dumbass. You're not good.
Case, because when you think about it, democracy is antithetical to these ideals that much of our country was founded on, the belief in the individual, in liberty, in humility, in freedom of speech, thought, and action. But what is democracy? Democracy is a system where the majority gets to violate the rights of the minority, simply by virtue of the fact that they are the majority.
I fucking hate. Big yikes, Frankie. Thanks for giving one to Jalen Jean.
It's a sort of numerical might makes right. You've probably seen this illustration of what I'm talking about.
Could I eat you for dinner? No. Could we eat you for dinner? Still no. How about we take a vote? Wow. Wow. Wowzers.
Now, it's true that our country is not a direct democracy. It's a democratic republic, so we vote to elect representatives and they make the decisions. But this only shifts the problem up a level. Instead of the majority voting to take away the rights of the minority, they vote to elect someone who will do it for them. The difference is that of between murdering someone and paying someone else to do it, which is not a significant difference.
But they don't get to murder you unless you agree that cops are good. I can't imagine he thinks cops are good though, right? This guy took one philosophy class, got a C+, and thought that's good enough for me, bruh. My name's Brad. I'm ready. And I'm ready. I'm going to start making YouTube videos.
It's also true that we have a constitution, so there are certain actions that are just not allowed, regardless of what the majority want. So you can't, for example, vote for slavery. Now, putting aside the fact that this constitution can still be changed through democracy, albeit difficultly, and the fact that our elected representatives don't always care about it, this still doesn't do a whole lot to solve the issue, as even if people can't vote to murder or enslave other people per the constitution, they can still take away their rights in other ways. They can vote to outlaw drugs, gun rights, prostitution. They can vote to steal your wealth through taxation.
Oh my fuck. Okay. I fucking hate libertarians, man. Okay, so the idea here is there is an agreed upon set of rules because we want to live together in a country. And the agreed upon set of rules are voted on by the majority, and the majority wins. The idea being, you can't please everybody, but you can please most people most of the time, which is true. If we live in the way that you want to live, what you have are it's basically fiefdoms. You have a million little settlements where the boundary being as small as your apartment or as large as a state, whatever. These are societies. These are the way it works, and the reason we don't do that anymore is because no one liked that. No one liked going back to fiefdom. No one wanted to have actual. Do you know where the term landlords come from? Fucking actual lords of the land, like in fucking castles and shit. People that owned land, and then you would be a serf that toiled upon it in exchange for the protection of the military that may or may not sometimes help you out, that was under the employ of the lord of that land. Like that's really the deal. You could try to brave it out by yourself, but it didn't make a lot of sense because your survival went down. That's exactly what your model is. Your model is not to have any sort of fucking like structure, is to have a bunch of tiny kingdoms within a place. But you can't have a government and have a kingdom. You have to pick one. Who likes to surf? You guys like to? Yeah, hell yeah.
And put restrictions on voluntary trades that you have with other people. Here are some quotes that illustrate what I'm talking about. If the wrong person winning an election causes you anger, stress, anxiety, or fear, then one thing is clear. Government has far too much power and far too much control over our everyday lives. If you think about it, almost every major voting issue boils down to people either trying to take away rights or preserve them. That's why everyone is so zealous in encouraging people to vote every term, because it's a constant tug-of-war in which the failure to participate allows rights to be violated. If your fundamental human rights are up for grabs every 4 years, that's a system problem, not a voter problem. And if you further think about it, you can also realize that if we had a system that didn't allow this, one that absolutely enshrined liberty with no permissible means of circumvention, voting as a mechanism would become almost, if not entirely, obsolete.
But you can't enforce that without the agreement that everybody has on it. That's the fucking rub with libertarianism. It's always the same thing. I don't want laws, however, I want my liberties to always be a thing. What if I don't agree that you should have that liberty, and other people agree that you don't have that liberty? It still happens, except in your scenario, instead of voting, I just literally take your rights and maybe your life. It's literally, we've already done this. History has borne this out. It just doesn't work. You have your little fiefdom. I have a bigger one, you lose. Done. That's how it works. You fucking bend the knee and get folded into my empire, or you fucking die. That's how it has always worked. And eventually it got to a point where we had countries. And then people were just like, well, fuck, I guess we're born in this country. Let's try to make it better in a collective way, because the alternative is swords. The alternative is stabbing each other with swords. And that wasn't good. Feudalism was bad. Like, it's just not how it works. When you go, oh, the system, your rights are up for grabs in the system every year. What if we made it so the system couldn't do that? You'd still have it happen, dum-dum. It would still occur. But not if we all agreed to the NAP. What if I don't agree with it? All it takes is one person disagreeing with you. It's literally all it takes.
That is to say, the fewer things politicians control, the less it matters who controls the politicians. Now, this is all compounded by the fact that the majority of people have no idea what they're talking about.
Except for me, very smart man.
The average person puts very little thought, if any, into their political and philosophical positions.
However, my name, Very Smartman, has thought about this for you. Please listen as I espouse to you in my Yeti Snowball. Okay. While not looking at the camera on my shitty 480p camera, why do I have authority on any of this? Oh, I don't? I'm just calling myself Very Smartman in the hopes that you will listen to me? Oh, cool. And if you scrutinize my opinion whatsoever, it falls apart like a house of cards? Oh, weird.
Take abortion, for example.
Okay.
Most people on both sides of the argument have very little justification for their stance, and the justifications they do have fall apart under minimal analysis.
Okay, bodily autonomy is a bad... Okay, interesting. Let's hear it.
They don't know how to define when life begins or when life becomes valuable.
I know both those answers. I know both of those answers, okay? When does life begin? It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because it's a parasite eating the resources of another human being. And according to the NAP, y'all can't do that. That's a violation. You're a little zygote. You don't get to, it doesn't matter when your life begins. I can take it whenever the fuck I want, okay? Insofar as when life becomes valuable, it doesn't have inherent value. Life does not have inherent value. Sorry, bud. Life is really cool and statistically improbable. And once you are alive, I want you to have your own set of values for it, but I can't provide you a value on your life. I can value your life, but I can't tell you what your life is worth. I can't place a number on it. I can't decide for you whether or not you ought to live. I would like you to live, and I would like you to be successful in whatever it is you pursue, but that doesn't mean you have value on a cosmic level. You have value on an interpersonal level, which is, of course, he's not ready for that. He needs to have like some sort of intrinsic shit going on, but there's no intrinsic value to any of this. You're just actually stupid.
And the answers they do give are not only arbitrary, but can be immediately reduced to absurdity.
Do it to those two arguments I just made. Try this. Do you think it's ethical for a state to force you to give up organs to someone else for 6 months so they can live? Exactly.
They might say that life is valuable to the degree of consciousness that it...
No, that's not the argument I made. Good job, though, Very Smartman.
It has. A fetus doesn't have substantial consciousness, so it doesn't have substantial value.
No life has any value, intrinsically. Life in general is a cosmic lottery that you happen to have won. My interpersonal value of you is independent from your intrinsic value. He is not ready for that big brain take, though. He is too small-brained. He is not prepared. Look, my brain had to be contained in this way through the magic of the mushroom cap. That's how smart we are here on this place. Life does not have inherent value. No, it doesn't, sheepykins. It has zero inherent value. Who places inherent value on anything? Does you have a cosmic inherence of your... If you lived alone, you would have your personal value of your own life. You don't have intrinsic value whatsoever. This is not to say that your life is worthless in the social. It means that your life is worthless in the cosmic scale. There's no soul. There's nothing to bind you to the afterlife. There's no idea of worth. There's no value to set. There's no standard by which we consider life. You are literally a nothing that gets to exist for a short period of time. There is no actual value. Value is placed on us by social pressures throughout, which is fine because social worth and social value is real in that we agree it is, right? Because we agree that, like, your life has a social value. It does not have an intrinsic value, and if you believe it has an intrinsic value, you better be religious, and if you're not thinking about it well enough because you are misunderstanding exactly what value is And you are not accepting that value is in fact a construct of society, a social construct. Value in itself does not exist independent of people. Value, and that's what he's saying. Value hasn't. This is what you have to agree on if you think that that life is some sort of valuable. But I don't. I don't agree that life is valuable, and neither should you, because it isn't. Because it isn't. It's valuable on a social level. Otherwise, you're just wrong. You're just plain wrong. Life has value because humans value it. Exactly. It doesn't have value.
But the same can be said about a 1-year-old. They say, okay, it's not just about consciousness.
So now he's just going to argue against a straw man because we answered the question in a way that he didn't anticipate because he wasn't smart enough.
For consciousness. A 1-year-old has the potential to become conscious. But the same can be said about a fetus. It becomes clear that they haven't put any thought into the issue. Now, I'm not
big brain over here.
saying there aren't answers to these questions, only that most people don't have them, nor do they bother to find them. And yet they still call with outrage for their position to be adopted in legislation that, if they're wrong, will violate the rights of millions of people. Those people either being millions of fetuses if the left is wrong, or millions of women if the right is wrong. And even with all of that on the line, they still don't give it a second thought. Even political commentators whose job is...
Again, he didn't even get close to what we were talking about, of course, because he does place inherent value in life, which is a small brain take.
Practically
the lighting changed, yeah.
To be informed and have thorough takes on these issues are often not much better. You can watch Hassan getting repeatedly dismantled by destiny in this debate.
What is the positive argument that you give them?
Oh my God!
When should you be allowed to kill somebody?
I don't ascribe the personhood to a fetus. I say, like, I have a,
why not?
Personally. Oh, why not?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It doesn't have consciousness. It doesn't have any.
Well, I don't think is Hassan gonna, like, this is old. How old is this video? This is from November. No, this is recent. I thought this was okay. This is from November of last month. So like just this year. Yeah, this is really old. He was still playing this game, and he hadn't gone through his he hadn't gone full dum yet, but that's okay.
Okay, wait. So consciousness, is that going to be your bar for when something is...
Well, no, obviously consciousness is not the only reason for not the only reason for personhood. I'm going off these. I mean, I'm making this up on the spot. I need to probably think about it a little bit more, if we're being honest, of like what makes it a person, because currently it's just my feelings, if we're being honest. Like I don't feel like a fetus is a person. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to talk about consciousness as a standalone?
Sure. So why does consciousness make you worthy of being, like, considered...
Wait, this guy believes in God? You fucking shut up. You fucking shut up. No, he doesn't. I know Surus does stuff. Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, see, there it is. He doesn't believe in God, does he? Really? I don't think so. I think you're mistaking this guy. God, look at him. Look at him. He just... Why does he do this? Look at his fucking face every time. Every time he's making this fucking really self-serious face. I cannot... Oh, these are all his videos. These are the entireties of his videos. Okay. I can't stand this fucking guy. Ugh. Democracy is evil. Yikes. Anyway. Is Hassan a Muslim? No.
For life or whatever.
I think morality, like a moral agent, moral agency is something I care about.
So one of the reasons why you value consciousness is because it makes us moral agents. Do you believe that a 1-year-old is a moral agent?
A 1-year-old has the capability of being a moral agent more than, like, your chances are a lot higher of becoming a moral agent.
This is such a bad argument. Hassan's not good at this stuff. It's okay. Hassan is not good at this. He's good at other stuff. This isn't one of them. He's not a debater. Why is the bar here Hassan? I don't understand. He doesn't think about this kind of shit. It's not his lane.
Than a fetus.
Destiny is okay. So Destiny was playing devil's advocate here. Destiny is pro-abortion, but he's a pro-life, pro-abortion person, where he personally believes that you should not get an abortion. However, he is unwilling to legislate against that and thinks that you should be allowed to, which is fine. I think Hassan is not good at debating, and I think Destiny, that's a perfectly fine and reasonable. I don't know if I would. I mean, I would get an abortion definitely, but I don't know if I wouldn't talk Sarah into getting an abortion if she didn't want one. Does that make sense? But this was years ago. This was last year. I know 2020 has been a long time. This was 2019. I'm 99% sure this was 2019. Yeah, this was 2019 in May, like the summer of 2019. So it's not years ago.
Fetus, like
So
a 1 second old fetus.
Right now, very clearly,
once you're outside of the body, your likelihood of becoming a moral agent, or your likelihood of you're
such a
going
bad
down
argument
the
from
natural
Hassan.
trajectory of becoming a moral agent.
yeah, but that's
without
happening
the
when you're
hope.
in the body. What do you mean? That happens when you're.
No, I know, but you're no longer.
Yeah, Destiny is garbage, but he's not wrong about this. This is a bad argument from Hassan.
Tied.
Those two things can exist in the same space. We can agree with that. We are intellectually honest enough to understand that Hassan's bad at this argument, and that also Destiny can be garbage.
The fucking host. I think that's a pretty significant difference.
So again, you just bounced to another argument. So you said moral agency, and then you
Because it
realize
doesn't work on its own.
no. It doesn't work at all. That's my point. I'm not saying that it doesn't have to work on its own. But you literally said a moral agent, and you said, well, hold on, the capacity to develop moral agency, and they said, well, hold on, I understand that fetuses have that. It's the fact that they're viable outside of the womb.
No, I'm saying, okay, no. What if I were to say moral agency out, the capacity to develop moral agency outside of the womb? Would you be more comfortable with me describing it that way rather than just saying moral agency?
Sure.
Okay, so that's the factor then. Okay, that's a little bit better. We're working through it together.
Sure.
And it's not just viability outside of the womb. My arbitrary boundary on this is viability outside of the womb without significant medical intervention.
Okay, but now we've just stepped into another huge pit, because what about children that are born at term, like they're full term or whatever, and they're born, and then they need medical assistance in order to survive? Should we be allowed to kill these children if we don't like them?
No, because the difference there is that you've already made the choice that you want to have that pregnancy. What
if you made the choice to have a pregnancy at 2 months and then you wanted to have an abortion at 6 months?
Then you should be able to get an abortion. No cap.
Should you be allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so then if you've made the choice to have a pregnancy and then the child is born and it's got a few medical problems that require it to be hooked up to like a bypass for a month, why shouldn't you be allowed to abort that?
I personally, okay, maybe this is a hot take. He's having a really hard time. I personally think that if you say your child is born with Harlequin's disease, and for some reason the test never showed that. And Harlequin's disease is really terrible. I'm not going to show you pictures of it. Basically, it's an incredibly painful existence. Your skin basically secedes from your body. It's absolutely terrible. I think if frankly, a life is not worth it if it is born into such intense suffering. And for those of you who don't understand, Harlequin's disease is fatal. You're not gonna make it out of that. You're gonna be fucking just really, really bad. Just death with dignity is a viable option, and I don't think we need. There's something about the idea of like it's a baby that makes people really morally like uptight about it. It's a societal pressure, but like I think it's very cruel to cause something to exist in suffering. Now, if it's something that's livable, cool, but if it's something like they're born without a brain, Why? What's the point? If they're born with like Down syndrome, okay, cool, that's fine. That's people can be very fine with Down syndrome. There's lots of people that have perfectly happy lives with Down syndrome, but there's not people that have happy lives with Harlequin's disease. There's not people that have happy lives that don't have a brain. There's not people that have happy lives with a myriad of different ailments. And so I have no problem with if for some fucking reason, and you would find this out in the womb, but if for some reason you don't find it out while in utero, death with dignity is a reasonable course of action to prevent suffering of an entity whose only experience will be suffering. Like I don't find value in suffering whatsoever. And maybe you agree, but neurodivergent people is not what I'm talking about. Yeah, obviously. I think we've seen lots of people that are happy with that don't have a brain. Yikes. Shout out Mimsy Moon. But yeah. So I think it's much more compassionate to understand that suffering is a scale that we have to deal with and try to work out. There's a young adult girl who was born with it. Well, I mean, yeah, it's treatable, I get, sure, but I mean, like her life is pain. So I don't think it's unreasonable to be like, should we do this? Especially if you're not in America, especially if you're not well off. Like, is that in America? Do those people have money? Now chronic pain is different. Because she has like an arthritis or something, right? Sushi Mom? Something about that? Yeah. Yeah, but so you have a 50% chance of suffering through your life into college. I don't think that's a reasonable. I mean, again, you can. She dislocates her joints, leads to arthritis. That's what it is. Yeah. Again, like I was born with my feet turned in, and I have arthritic ankles and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like abject suffering your whole life. I don't think it's unreasonable to consider death with dignity for someone that is going to be born to abject suffering their whole life. Whether or not it's survivable is irrelevant. Like survivability is fine. Like you could take it and you can make it a factor. Like maybe my child can have this, and I don't think a lot of parents would choose like, you know what, I'm gonna make a hard decision here, and we're gonna have death with dignity for this child so that it can avoid suffering. That's cool. It's a hard decision, but it's a decision. You're making a decision. Even if most people opt for we're gonna try to make this work. I have no problem with you making a call to prevent the suffering of another person. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Harlequin girls from the UK. Yeah, that's awful. Ugh. Yeah. Oh, true, Murdoch. True.
Once the child is born, or viability outside of what do you call it? That's why I said viability outside without medical intervention.
And I'm giving you an example.
You've already given the birth. You've already given birth. There's another. That's another. You're going to get mad at me, but there's another distinction between a baby and a fetus that is in your womb.
Okay, what is the distinction?
It's not. It's no longer connected to the host body.
Okay, so we have three different things right here. We have the fact that the baby is not inside of you is one thing.
Wait, can I just pause for 1 second? How the fuck can you dumbasses actually go, I agree with Hassan, but Destiny is owning him hard. But like, how can those two factors coexist in your mind? Don't you think that that's indicative of how fucking dumb you are if you genuinely think that someone who you're agreeing with is
what? No, you're making the Digibro argument. No, you're making the Digibro argument.
Actual fucking logic. You dumb motherfuckers.
Hassan, you can agree with your ideas, but maybe Destiny is more strategically taking you down in the debate.
I don't understand. Hassan is so fucking weird.
Better than myself.
No, this is not rhetoric. No,
this is such a he's doing such a bad job.
It's not rhetoric. This is logic. We're exercising arguments right now, not our rhetoric.
This is so fucking dumb. Like people are literally admitting that they're stupid in this instance. If
no, that's not.
That's something that's like, hey, I know that you're right or I agree with you, but this other person seems more right. That's literally what they're saying.
And it's not
No.
like these issues require a genius level intellect to solve, but they do require an honest, open-minded, rational inquisition with the pure goal of finding the truth, indifferent of the conclusions. And
I agree with that, Zamboni. Sararum, thanks for the 2 months.
most people are not only not willing to do that, they don't care about it. They're completely fine with holding unjustified beliefs and recklessly risking the violation of other people's rights by enforcing them. And so what we have here with democracy is a system in which someone else who is too lazy, it's not even that they're not capable, they're just too lazy to put thought into their beliefs, gets to have a say on how you live your life regardless of how much thought you've put in.
This is some philosopher king's bullshit. I don't like it.
It is not therefore a coincidence that our
How long does it take him to make a video?
democratic republic gives us people like Biden and Trump to choose from. That's who the majority pick. They don't choose philosopher kings, they put them to death. Socrates, the philosopher...
I said, oh my fucking God. I made a joke about the fucking philosopher kings, and then he unironically brought it up. I'm going to smash this into my face. Be ready. Prepare your ears. My fucking God, dude.
philosopher most emblematic of humility, of open-mindedness, of the honest, rational pursuit of truth, was
He also fucked boys.
executed by the majority because of democracy. Why? Because he showed them the faults in their thinking. That's what the majority do when they're shown that they're wrong.
You're wrong, though. You're wrong.
That they're in a cave. They don't correct themselves, they get angry at you and accuse you of using wordplay, sophistical tricks, of conjuring up pseudo-rationalizations for your criticisms, as if your criticisms aren't legitimate.
Your criticisms are not legitimate.
Anything they can do to shift the blame onto you and avoid having to even consider the possibility that they've made an error in their thinking, just so that they can continue subscribing to actual sophistry. So what then? Am I suggesting a Platonic republic instead, where wise philosopher kings get to dictate the lives of the rest?
No, you are saying that you want to dictate your own life in your own small settlement, and that would again, it would end up in small little fiefdoms, which is not ethical.
No, because the only man wise enough to control the lives of others
is himself.
Knows that he doesn't deserve to. Now, there's a popular quote by Winston Churchill, which states that democracy is the worst system, except for all the rest. This is wrong. We don't have to choose between tyranny of the few and tyranny of the many. We could just not have tyranny. We could have a society where no one gets a say in the life of another, where everyone has liberty and no one is allowed to violate it.
No one's allowed to violate it, which means that you just said that we get to determine the liberty of another. It literally self-defeats in the first sentence, my guy. If I have unfettered liberty, then I get to do whatever I want, and we all have to agree I get to do whatever I want until I don't do whatever I want, and you don't like what I do, and then you try to stop me from doing the thing that I want.
Her ramble was just
Dusty Nuts, thanks for following. There's just no fucking way this works out, dude.
A society according to the non-aggression principle.
Oh, what I say, NAP. What a fucking child. What a child. A child. He's absolutely stupid.
Libertarianism. Now, what is liberty exactly? I define liberty as, and I think almost everyone agrees with this definition, even if they immediately contradict it afterwards, as the principle that all people should be allowed to do whatever they want with their own lives. Now, this obviously automatically excludes things like rape, theft, murder, things that harm other people.
Okay. Riddle me this. What if so things like rape, theft, and murder. Okay. So, non-aggression principle applied to two houses next to each other. But this dude's anti-drug and anti-trans. I don't think he's anti-drug, but maybe. I think he's anti-taking drugs. I don't think he's anti-legalization of drugs. Okay, so here we go. Here's the thought experiment. And we're not going to do something like discrimination, because that's that's like 2 charge. This is going to be something that's not volatile, but his NAP doesn't adjust for, and there's no real way to reconcile this without outside forces determining who is correct, right? So I have a house. That guy, thanks so much for the prime. So I have a house and you have a house. They're next to each other, okay? So in my house, let's say I have these two. I have this full bottle of Pepsi Zero Sugar that I forgot to drink because I was high yesterday, and I got this almost full bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar that I took like 4 drinks of. And so I was high, and I went and grabbed this, drank some, and I was like, I want a drink, and then I got up and got this one, and then sat back down and already had this, and then I just went to sleep yesterday. Anyway, so I have a house, you have a house, and they're right next to each other, and we're just doing our own thing in our libertarian utopia, right? And I decide in my Mountain Dew house to play really loud the Skrillex discography. I'm playing everything Skrillex ever made. I really like dubstep, and I'm playing it as loud as I can stand it because it's my liberty to do so. You are not negatively affected. You're far enough away from the house to where you're not hurt. You're not harmed. There's no the sound waves are not rattling your kitchen. It's not making your windows break. It's not making your dog bark. However, what it is doing is it's keeping you awake. Now, am I being violent? No, I'm enjoying the well-known and well-respected artist known as Skrillex and his dubstep ways. And when the beat drops, you wake up in the middle of the night. How do we solve this problem? You don't want to be up all night. You don't want to listen to my Skrillex. However, I want to listen to my Skrillex really loud. The way we solve this in a society is we have noise ordinance laws because we understand that some people need to fucking sleep and other people can't just do whatever they want all the fucking time. So we understand that Mountain Dew House doesn't get to listen to Skrillex all day. Okay? Even if he wants to really, really bad. He has to stop around 10 p.m. and it can't be super loud. He can listen to it in his headphones 24 hours a day if he wants, but he can't listen to it as loud as he wants. So, how do we solve this? Are you meant to wear earplugs your whole life? Every single day is a moment of pain in the tidal wave of Skrillex crashing into your house? Or what? How do you solve this? Libertarianism literally cannot solve really loud Skrillex neighbor. If you can't solve really loud Skrillex neighbor with your fucking philosophy, I think maybe it has a bit left to work on. Have you considered that? Have you considered that really loud Skrillex neighbor shouldn't be able to make your entire philosophy come crashing down? Jesus Christ. I feel like 7,000 IQ when I watch these videos. Hey Jake, I have a question. Do you know what percentage of voters actually go to rallies? Would I be correct to assume that it's a very small well, of course it's very small. Pepsi Soda uses its economic power to buy the Mountain Dew House and ostracize them from the Pepsi Town. Yeah, but that would violate the NAP, right? Because wouldn't forcing someone to do something else through economic pressures be a violation of the NAP? I don't know, but it feels like it. Well, I guess we'll see. If you think Skrillex has a problem, let me tell you about the free market. I agree, right? What if I want to burn tires in my yard? Well, you could make... See, the argument that he would make is those are caustic chemicals and stuff. That's why I use sound. Because I have already thought about all of the contingencies that this dumb might have, and I would win that argument. I would win. He would have to agree that loud noise past 10 o'clock is violence, to which I would reply, I disagree. And he would be like, well, fine. Because really loud Skrillex neighbor... You can't enforce that by any means unless you want to agree that there is an agreed upon force that can determine whether or not my liberty is valid in a certain situation. In this situation, I am annoying you. That's it. I'm just being annoying. Anyway.
Those are not liberties because they are outside the bounds of your own life. They involve other people, and liberty is concerned with your own life. And doing such actions would violate the liberty of other people, so they obviously cannot be liberties. And so preventing you from doing them is therefore not a violation of your liberty, it's the protection of theirs. This conception of liberty is entirely consistent and results in no contradictions.
Really loud Skrillex neighbor disagrees. Ba ba ba! That's my Skrillex. I don't know Skrillex songs. You guys know Skrillex? What's the best Skrillex? Do people still listen to Skrillex? How many viewers? He has 14 million monthly listeners still? How are 14 million people a month still listening to fucking Skrillex? I remember Bangarang. This was the one that came out. Skrillex! Wow. Purple Lamborghini. Cool. Skrillex, we did it. All right, 14 million people still fucking listen to this guy. My goodness. Good for Skrillex. Good for that guy. But holy shit. I like the theme he worked on for Kingdom Hearts. Cool. I don't know anything about that.
And there is only one type of system that preserves it: real libertarianism. Not the fake variants like libertarian socialism, that oxymoron of an ideology where you explicitly violate liberty because you want poor people to have free things, but continue calling yourself a libertarian because it makes your theft sound better.
No. The reason social comes before the word libertarian is we social libertarians such as myself, according to my own compass, tip of the hat, me as a very smart man, the social comes first. We take care of the societal needs at large before we engage in libertarianism. It's not contradictory whatsoever. It just uses the term libertarianism to say, and this is the second thing we believe in, insofar as it doesn't violate the first. So you have a social, you have social needs met, and then the rest is libertarian. Totally fine. Totally fine. You can't have liberty without food? True, Algie. You're totally correct. You're 100% correct. Their idea of liberty is the freedom to die in the gutter. How is that free? I feel like if you had the freedom to get healthcare anywhere you wanted in America, that's a little bit more free than not having healthcare anywhere in America. Amazing. Libertarian socialism is the only real libertarianism. Well, social libertarianism, but sure, whatever. The societal issues come first, and then after that, live your life. That's just all of it. That's just the whole thing. That's really the idea. Why are you turning into a mushroom? I'm not, but I'm glad that's what you thought it was.
No, I'm talking about negative rights-based, non-aggression principled, laissez-faire capitalist libertarianism.
Laissez-faire capitalist libertarianism, which of course violates the NAP immediately, but that's okay.
Now, what the implementation of that looks like exactly, whether it's minarchy or anarchy, is not only a different discussion, but a secondary concern. We should determine what's right, and then shape our society around that.
You don't get to have a society. You just said that you didn't want laws that violate liberty, in which case you don't have a society. You would only have small, independent, anarcho communities. Anarcho-libertarianism is the only way this starts to work. And then from anarcho-libertarianism, you eventually get monarchies. You eventually have fiefdoms, and it devolves back into what it was before. And then we just move back into capitalism and democracy and stuff when you fail. This is so fucking dumb. This is so dumb. He is just not good at this.
Not the other way around.
It's just
and
feudalism.
Before you say the argument that this would run into the same problem of tyranny because people might disagree on what liberty is, that's not valid, because it is a conflation of the words we use to refer to concepts and the concepts themselves.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you disagreeing that people will disagree? Seems like you just served the purpose of the conversation. It seems like immediately you're like, well, and if you say someone's going to disagree, I disagree with that. That's the thing that you said wasn't going to happen. What? No! You did the thing in the sentence explaining why that wouldn't occur. Amazing.
You redefining liberty to refer to some other concept does not refute the concept that I am referring to when I say liberty. The concept I'm...
It literally takes one person going, I don't like this, for that to fail. Literally one.
referring to is...
Would Jake ever do drag? I wouldn't do drag because it's not my space to do drag because I'm not a drag queen and that's not what I like. However, I would wear makeup and have done so on stream for the entertainment of you guys or something. Haven't you been here for a while or no? I thought you had been. Could be wrong. You've been following since last year. You've seen me do drag, haven't you? Haven't you literally seen me in makeup before? Seems weird. Anyway.
Is clearly definable and can be consistently applied to every human interaction, and done so easily in the vast majority of cases, with exception to a few nuanced scenarios where it's not immediately obvious where liberty flows, issues like children, abortion, saving someone's life without their explicit consent.
Oh yeah, you know, all those real small issues, like abortion. Children? I don't even know what that means. Did he mean... You know what? I think I know what he meant when the oh god, the laissez-faire capitalist libertarian said the word children without any other contextual clues as to what the discussion might be. Oh boy, what do we think that is? Uh-oh, what do we think he means when he just says the word children? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oof. You know, the issue of children. You know, that issue. Yeah. What could that be? Very... Sock, do you have any idea what that might be? Yeah, I think he wants to fuck his... No. Shh. My bad.
But even if some situations require additional investigation, they still have objective answers, since if we have an established criteria, liberty, then we can objectively measure whether it's being met, definitionally.
Okay. Except for loud Skrillex house.
That's how syllogisms work, symbolic logic. And even if there were some inescapable ambiguity about how liberty exactly applies in every situation, and we had to make some subjective adjudications...
Uh-oh, that sounds like laws. Subjective adjudications. Subjective adjudications sound a lot like just fucking laws! Oh, weird. I thought you meant those were the tool of tyranny that stop us from having abject liberty. Oh no, you just mean laws. You say subjective adjudications, but did you know that I can read? Did you know I can read, Michael? I can read your words. That means laws. What are you talking about? It's a law. Fuck.
At least we'd be stumbling in the right direction towards this principle, not knowingly abandoning it. Now, you might ask why liberty is something that we should stumble towards at all, or more specifically, you might ask how it's fair for me to force my value of liberty on you. And hopefully you will see in me saying this just how self-defeating such a question is. For you to object to having to follow the belief that you shouldn't have to follow beliefs that you don't hold, because you don't hold it. Again, libertarianism is entirely consistent and results in no contradictions.
It literally just led to a contradiction. It literally did. He's like, this isn't a contradiction. You know this contradiction I'm pointing out? It's not one. You can't just say the contradiction isn't one when it's that. Thanks, Comfy. Like, you just said... What if you disagree that liberty is like the prime thing that we should be following? That's all it takes. That's the contradiction. If I disagree with you that liberty is the ultimate goal.
Any uncertainty that you might have about libertarianism is all the more reason to have certainty in it. Liberty is what allows you to stumble at all. It is simply not possible for the criticisms I've made from the libertarian position to apply to itself without affirming itself. It is on
He's so stupid.
a higher level.
He's like, well, I have very striking eyebrows, therefore I can't be wrong. Yeah, bitch. Well, I got a corn suit and a weird hat that makes it look vaguely like a mushroom. Checkmate, bitch. Like, what? This arbitrary thing I just said totally works.
Now, lastly, you might try to argue, as many do in times of an election, that by me not voting, I am allowing someone to be elected into office who will violate liberty even more, and so I should just choose the lesser of two evils.
Maybe.
And to that I would respond with a quote from the Witcher series.
Unironically, he just goes, and to that I would respond with a quote from a video game called The Witcher. I fucking just cannot deal with these people. Oh my fuck, dude. Oh. I'm gonna start citing BioShock at people. Oh my fucking... Jesus Christ. Oh.
Evil is evil. Lesser, greater, middling makes no difference. The degree is arbitrary, the definition's blurred. If I'm to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all.
He is so fucking... He thinks that he is the fucking smartest dude in the world, bro. Wow. Wow. Amazing. By the way... Remember when Herman Cain quoted Mewtwo from Pokemon? I do not. Might be from the book. No, I'm pretty sure this is in the game. This is fucking stupid. By the way, would you kindly read this comment? I did, Jerf. When he says he'd rather not choose at all, it's very early on in The Witcher 3, I believe. By the way, he was wrong, and he does choose between evils. You, the player, choose evils throughout the series of The Witcher. It's from the books, but it's definitely in the game. It's definitely in the game. That's the point. That's the point, is that he is wrong to take a centrist stance on this. He's wrong to not fight for the lesser of evils, because that's what would mitigate the most suffering. That's the point.
Maybe you respond by saying that I'm still making a choice either way, and that's true, but my choice to not choose between evil is not itself evil.
He just fucking... I can't believe he failed the trolley problem. If you ask Michael the trolley problem, he'll literally fail it. I can't believe it.
I'm not guilty. I have a thought experiment that illustrates this clearly.
The trolley problem?
Imagine someone breaks into my house with a gun and tells me that they are going to murder me and my entire family unless I do the most evil action you could think of to a child.
Make them watch a Mimsy Moon video? Boom! We got him! Fucking crushed it! Pwned! Internet win! Give me internet points. Anyway.
I wouldn't do it. Would I then be responsible for him killing my family? No, of course not, because he's the one doing it. He chose to murder them, not me, regardless of what
Look. That's a very specific villain he's got there.
I did. He didn't have to do that. I simply refused to commit evil, and then he went out of his way in response to commit his own evil.
It's literally just the trolley problem. It's literally the trolley problem.
It was his actions and therefore his guilt, not mine. It doesn't make any sense to try to prevent evil by committing evil. You end up with evil in the world either way, except it's even worse now because you're the one creating it.
Is it worse when you create evil if it's less evil? Qui-Gon Jinn is probably not an authority on kids. Oh boy. Oh boy. And I thought me and Qui-Gon Jinn could talk the Federation into maybe cutting them a little slack. But their response, it didn't thrill us. They locked the doors and tried to kill us.
Your best
sing that whole song.
option in such a situation is to not act. And so for me to exercise my right to vote, I would not only be...
I'm sorry, did he just... So that metaphor was choosing Joe Biden. So Donald Trump is the guy threatening to murder your family. Joe Biden is if you chose to rape the child instead of letting Donald Trump shoot your family. Really? Really? How that's a pretty extreme example, my friend. Jesus Christ. He totally voted Jorgensen? No, I don't think he voted.
helping elect someone who might take away rights, I would be affirming the notion that I have the right to take away the rights of others, and I know that I don't. Thanks for watching. Big thank you to all of my patrons. You can let me know what you think over social media, email, or my Discord server.
Thanks to all my patrons. I make a video once a fucking year. Jesus Christ. Okay. Never go full libertarian. It just makes you stupid. Unless you choose, in not choosing is being complacent and evil, which is creating evil. True. He has patrons. Probably not a lot, but, you know. Wow. He voted Jorgensen. Are you sure? I don't follow him, so. I just can't fucking deal with that. That guy is so, every time we watch one of his videos, he's just so fucking brain dead, man. He's so incredibly brain dead. He doesn't understand anything. It's so basic. It's so basic. It's like surface level. And then he looks like this, and he takes himself so fucking seriously. I literally went to, I had a philosophy class. You're required to take philosophy classes for a lot of vocations when you go to college. And in college, I took a philosophy class with a guy named Dr. Wolf. He was the philosopher in charge. I think he tends towards some, at least at the time, I got the feeling that he might be a little more conservative than I am, but he was an atheist. So I mean, he was right about one thing. But there was this kid, and I sat right in front, not because I was a really great student, but because on the first day of class, that's where I was. And there was this kid that sat next to me, who was also right in the front, and he was that fucking guy. He was that fucking guy. He literally wore a tie and a suit to the community college philosophy 101 class that we all enrolled in. And then he would try to, well, actually everybody. And then I got to shit on him the whole time, which was fucking fantastic for me. Now I look like a fucking conquistador. I look like a conquistador, chat. Anyway, this is the same energy. It's the same actually energy. He just wears a tie to the fucking community college philosophy class, gets a C+, thinks, that's it. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. We're good to go. We're good to go. I don't need any more education. I've got what I need out of this. Oh, what a dum-dum.